I gotta make sure I get rid of this pen. Because I'm super clicky.
All right. I'll fire it off with the,
Hello, I'm Sean Collins.
I'm Stephen Barry.
This is We Feed Them, a podcast about the people and stories that shape the food industry.
There we go. One day I'm going to memorize that.
You haven't memorized it?
No, not yet.
We just haven't gone the other way yet.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe I should write it down and just have it in my hand.
Yeah, that'll be the spot for it.
I'll just get it tattooed.
Yeah.
Depending on how well
I don't think you should get it tattooed, dude. That's a bad idea. Because we'll think of something better and change it pretty quick.
Probably, yeah.
Well, it's not bad.
That's why I got 2 hands, man.
Fudge. Didn't even think about that. Well, I guess so far we've just started off with, how was your week, man?
My week has been pretty good so far.
Sick.
Yeah, I got a new couch.
Nah.
Yeah.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
it's not a brand new couch, but it might as well be.
What's the first food item you're going to lose in it?
Oh, probably a Cheeto or something. I don't know.
Is that your snack?
What snack do I normally go for? Man,
I'm trying to think of the last thing I snacked on the couch, what it was.
you know
It's
what?
probably a full meal. I was probably like eating a burrito with rice and beans and shit.
I don't know, man. I try not to keep snacks around, but you know, if I have some, it's probably gonna be some Pringles or I don't know. I like
Barbecue
sour
Pringles.
candies a lot.
Oh yeah, you're a candy freak.
Yeah. I'm a sugar fiend.
The one thing, if there's like Oreos in the cupboard,
Oh my
oh
God,
god,
dude.
Nutty Buddies and zebra cakes, I'm in trouble, bro. I have a family and I try not to embarrass myself because somebody will wake up and be like, "Where's all the zebra cakes?" And I'll be like,
You fucks with EL fudge? That's probably my favorite cookie.
we had some and they're all right.
You know what's really good, man? I don't even know if they have them anymore. They probably changed it over now. You might be too late. But Aldi had they were like knockoff Oreos or whatever, but they were fucking apple pie flavored. They were
Whoa.
so good, dude.
Were they cream betweens?
No, they weren't. I can't remember the name of them.
thought
It was
that
just
was
like
their
whatever the
off-brand.
Aldi generic brand is.
Apple pie.
Yeah.
Did it have like a fig filling almost? You know what I'm saying? A really reduced down, like a Pop-Tart filling?
Yeah, I kind of. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I gotta look out for those.
Yeah, it was delicious. But like I said, it might be, well, I don't know. It's not quite Christmas yet, so maybe they're still floating around out there.
Yeah, I'm sure they still
Might be able
are.
to get them on clearance, bro.
Yeah, they probably have pumpkin pie Oreos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably
bet.
have turkey gravy and stuffing Oreos.
Hell yeah.
I would not eat that. Well, I guess I probably would just for the hell of it.
What's up?
Oh shit, I don't remember,
And
bro.
so I've heard that you prepared for this podcast.
Yeah,
I think that so far it's had the most dead air of any podcast that we've tried yet.
Eat my ass, bro.
Okay, well maybe later. All right.
We're gonna be like heavy seafood related today. I
Nice.
think. Last week we talked about some of our most challenging times in restaurants in the food industry, and kind of alongside that, I want to talk about some of the times that we felt most mistreated and maybe unappreciated for our skills, or maybe, I don't know, maybe felt like you weren't getting the right training or the direction of your job wasn't clear. Yeah, like I kind of want to know when you feel like you were taken advantage of
Yeah, I
in
mean
this industry.
I feel like it's all too common in this industry, and it's kind of sad because I genuinely believe that the people make the restaurant, you know. Without great people, then you don't have a great restaurant. And it just is what it is. But yeah, it sucks when great people get taken advantage of, misused.
It's always like those moments when you're about to walk out, quit, that you're just like, they wouldn't let me have that day off. I was sick. They wouldn't give me my last raise. They won't give me a fucking new T-shirt or whatever it is, you know?
It's almost like being in a abusive relationship. And you know, when it's all over, you kind of look back at it and see all of the bullshit that you kind of, I don't know, because I think there have been situations where I think that, oh, well, you know, my boss, such and such, he's a good guy. He wouldn't, you know, but then later on, I think back, I'm like, oh no, he was technically, yeah, he was fucking me, you know? But I mean, the most mistreated I've ever been, yeah, fast food was a lot of it. I think the fast food, obviously they're trying to get the most work for the least amount of money.
Yeah,
And
for sure. That's like the whole brand.
yeah,
And people even know it waiting in that drive-through. You know,
right,
I think if there's been times that I've been in a drive-through and I'm like, dude, come on. They don't care. And why should they care?
right.
And I shouldn't even be here given,
I shouldn't even be eating Taco Bar right now.
yeah,
And they shouldn't be cooking it.
yeah. Well,
Oh,
and then there's times I know both of us have walked out of jobs, you know, where it's just like, oh, I know for sure that I'm being mistreated and I walked out. But though I've sort of regretted those because I feel like I could have handled it more professionally. But
when I walked out of Steak and Shake, I don't even know that I was really being mistreated.
bro, I love that story, man. The way I remember you telling me how you walked out of Steak and Shake is like my favorite thing, dude.
Yeah, so I'll tell her for the pod.
Do it for the pod, bro.
Yeah, man. It was probably like, I mean, I was already working the late shift. It was a 24-hour Steak and Shake. And it had to have been like midnight or 1 o'clock. And I was working the shake station. And I was just getting buried in shakes, dude. And I really, honestly, kind of couldn't keep up. And my boss comes up to me, and I think I was scheduled out to like 2 or something. It was some ridiculous
2 a.m.?
hour. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. And my boss is like, hey, man, you're probably going to be here till 4 tonight because we got such and such. I don't know. So I can't remember what the fuck it was. It was some stupid bullshit.
Yeah, a new movie came out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, basically.
It's near the one here is near the theater. That's why I say that. But
No, it had something to do with cleaning or something. Like his boss was going to be in the next day or something.
Oh.
They wanted to get something done, but all I heard was 4 a.m, and I said, "Fuck this shit." And yeah, I just walked out, fucking rail full of tickets, shakes half made and shit. And yeah, I hopped in my little fucking Eagle Summit.
yeah, bro, I
The
remember that
busted
car.
transmission, and putted away.
But I remember you telling me that I could be wrong, but as I remember it, you walked out and you had to walk past the drive-through window to get to your car, and somebody was working.
I think I was parked in front of the drive-through window, and I didn't see the person, but
You heard of or something?
I don't know, man. I just imagine it in my head, maybe.
Oh.
Like I think that might have been where it came from. But that's always been, ever since that happened. I think you might have mentioned that. You were like, "Hey, man, what if the guy at the drive-through window just looks out like, hey, man, hey, that's our shake guy. Yeah. Hey, wait a minute." He turns around, it's just chaos.
Because yeah, that's how I.
Mad
For some
servers.
reason, I thought that you had told me that the person was like, you know, all right, your total's 22. Steve, hey, what do you? Oh shit.
I don't know if that happened, but
That's how it's in my head, bro.
that's how
I
it
love
happened
it,
in my
though.
head. So yeah, I guess that's how it happened.
I mean, at some point, it very well may have. You know, you as you're like peeling off, they're like, what's going on? Did that guy milkshake taking too long? Because Steve was in the weeds. Steve? Hey, doesn't Steve drive a Green Eagle Summit? Yeah, I think that was him, bro.
I was probably still wearing the stupid fucking paper hat and the bow tie.
You had the bow tie?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember specifically one time going into work with that fucking stupid bow tie, and it made me shave my beard because you had to have like a clean, presentable look or whatever, and just going into work. You just looked at me, and you were like, "Man, you look fucking dumb."
I said that.
It was something like that.
Sorry,
I don't know
bro.
if it was specific, but I did. I looked dumb. Oh, you said something like I looked like a dork or something. I don't know.
I can imagine that.
No, I was definitely, yeah, I looked like a fucking the poster boy for dorkiness.
I think I walked out of one job. I'm pretty sure it was one, but it was a restaurant, and basically what had happened was I had been there. I was pretty young. I maybe wasn't qualified for this position, but they had pretty bad turnover, and they would bring in a new chef, and I was like the shift leader. A lot of quotes because I felt like we were just slinging seafood, pub food, basically.
Yeah.
It was kind of nice for the town. I don't know. I just kind of feel weird because the chefs that came through were like pretty severe drug addicts a lot of times, or maybe they couldn't rise to the occasion at all.
But yeah, you were pretty young. I remember. You
Yeah.
were probably like
I
21.
think I was 20 when I walked out.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I turned 21 at the next job.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had like 4 years of experience at that point. But I was doing really well. I mean, for my age and for the expectations and the food quality that was going out, I feel like I was doing pretty well. But they kept bringing in a new kitchen manager chef. And dude, I was probably on the fourth one. And I'd been there for 2 years. and they would come in and be like, "Hey, Sean, you're gonna train this person, basically. Like it's gonna be a team collective, but since you're the shift lead and you're really the only person that we've given any sort of name to, and you're the only salary worker, uh, you're gonna train this person to show them the ropes. Like I knew the recipes in my head, you know what I'm saying?
By the way, they make 12% more than you do.
I'm sure there was way more than 12% more than me. Yeah, I mean they were like flying people in to town. Like I mean I guess I don't know if that's true, but they hired a sushi chef that, as I understood, came from New York and came to the job, so they had to have lured him in. Like I think they probably covered some.
Was that the guy who taught you sushi?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember you saying really good things about him.
Yeah, he was really cool. I don't have any issues with him, but
Yeah.
you know, he got there and I don't think he really didn't work there super duper long before he was like, dude, this is not what I thought it was. He was a Korean guy. His name was well, it doesn't matter what his name was. But he was a cool guy. And
Ryu Hayabusa.
yeah, something like that.
That's
But
right.
anyways, they got to the point where it was like, all right, we're gonna hire our 5th chef, and I was like, this is the same thing over. So why don't you just consider me for the job? Because if you think I'm qualified to keep training these guys, then why don't you consider me for the job? And so they set up a formal interview, and I was like, I've been working for you for 2 years. I don't know why we need to do a formal interview.
Right. Well, you said,
then they
tell us a little bit about your history. You're like, you were there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty young, and I kind of cut my teeth here. You know, it was the 3rd restaurant job I had, and
What did you do before this? Well, high school.
yeah, no, I did have a couple serious kitchen jobs before that. I think what thrusted me kind of further than I didn't cook like I had 4 years experience. I feel pretty confident that I was cooking like I had more than that, you know. And I think it was because my first kitchen job, when I started learning, I was working like 80 hours and 7 days a week for a long time. And so I was like literally doubling down on my time in the kitchen. And so I felt like I was ahead of what you would expect me to be. Now I'm probably where you would expect me to be at 34, but or maybe even a little behind because my priorities have changed.
Right.
But anyways, we had to do a formal interview, and it was like, tell us the mother sauces and tell us what water boils at and what does it boil at in Denver. You know, none of this matters because we're not in
Right.
Denver and the altitude's higher, so it boils at a different temperature, and here it boils at 212. I don't think that's really a qualifying question because like it's bubbling, it's
Fucking
boiling.
stupid.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think they were really trying to kind of help me expand my culinary horizon a little bit with questions like that. But what had happened was they called me and said, we're going to give this a shot. We're going to give you the position and we're going to see how it goes. We have some hesitation because of your age and experience, but we think that you can do it. And you think you can do it. And I was like, hell yeah. How much are you paying me? And they said, we're not going to give you a raise. And I said, well, I guess we'll see how it goes. And I'm sure I'll earn that raise. And then like that night, I was like, I'm not a sucker, dude. What kind of shit is that? And so I didn't walk out in the middle of a shift, but I remember I text the staff, hey, I'm not coming back. And so I'm giving you guys a heads up because Monday's going to be really tough. It's half off sushi and I won't be there. And I'm kind of a big part of that half off sushi day at the time. And so I'm out of here, bro. And I'm sorry, guys. And I don't really know how those guys felt about it. Most of them seemed supportive to me as I told them because they kind of understood the situation. But yeah, that was like the big time that I felt like I was kind of.
That is some real, I mean, that takes some balls, and they probably just assume that, like, I mean, I feel like I got taken advantage of in the same way by an employer that saw that I was young and passionate and aspired to be a chef, and I was very vocal about that. Not like, oh, I'm going to be the shit, you know, but like
Yeah.
just, you know, this is the path that I want to take.
Yeah, this is what I
You know?
got, and I'm doing it.
I think that I was even vocal about the idea that I understood that they were underpaying me, but I took the job because it was a step towards what I wanted to do, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that it sucks, man. Certain people in this industry will find young blossoming talent that is really passionate, that wants to expand, and they'll just exploit it.
Yeah.
So
I feel like as an employer, I sometimes struggle with that because I will find somebody who fits that build, but I'm like, I'm not going to pay you a lot. Like, I'm not going to pay you a super huge. I got to be careful to not overpay you because there has to be room for growth, and I don't want to keep you starving, but I think that you should be a little bit hungry. And so I don't know. I've had some things where I've had a dishwasher come up who was just excelling, and you're like, holy shit, this motherfucker can cook.
Right.
And they should know how to cook. But then there'll be moments in the heat of services where you're just like, oh yeah, they're still a teenager, and there's still those moments where you're like, this is where we need to improve.
Right.
But they've really, really got it. But I think that I've done a good job at it because I've paid teenagers a wage that you'd be surprised of how much they're making on their because of their age. But if you didn't know their age, it might seem like they're slightly underpaid for the job that they're doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I've tried to be right there to be, and I think I've been pretty straightforward with them. I'll just be like, hey, you're young. And so that kind of helps me save labor a little bit because, I just gave you like a $5 an hour raise to go from what you were doing because you're really showing out. And the ceiling is like, you're not there yet. There's still room.
The cool thing is though, that also to a teenager, $18 an hour means a lot more than it does to a grown man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so why should I jump to 20?
Right.
Because, well, there's nothing to work towards, I feel like, and I don't know. I guess I have to reflect on that and try to.
I feel like if you're just going to give somebody $20 an hour or more, then you have to know that they're the shit. Like they either have to have proven it to you, or somebody you really trust has to be like, hey, no, he's worth it,
Or there has to be some sort of like a long-term commitment.
Yeah.
And then we can talk more, whatever. And we could talk about benefits and things like that.
Right.
So I don't feel like, where I think other places would see that, they might find a dishwasher. There's like between 16 and 19, and they put them on the line, and they're just like, damn, this dude's fucking doing it. And they might still be like, yeah, you're going to make $14 an hour now. Isn't that pretty cool? Like I think that type of stuff happens. And it happened to me because I was making, the pay has changed dramatically since we were teenagers. But I think, dude, I might be tripping, but I think when I was 18, I was a full-time cook at this restaurant in Coloma, and I think they were paying me $9.50. And I was grilling, and I was running the wheel on some nights, so I wasn't quite as good as the other wheelmen in the kitchen. It was clear that I was capable and I was getting there, and I was pretty good on grill. I wasn't the best grill guy there. It was still like, you could put me on the grill on Friday and we'd be okay. And I'm pretty sure they're paying me $8.50.
Yeah, but that was 2008, 2009?
Yeah, probably 2008, 9, 10 era, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what that would, like now that person, okay, you have somebody senior year or fresh out of high school and they're your grill guy in a restaurant that's doing $6K on a busy night. You're going to be paying them
at least
16,
yeah.
Probably. I mean, I think you should be paying them 18.
Yeah.
Here, and that's going to change, like all over the place. But here, that would be good.
Yeah. When my first full service restaurant, I think I was making. It had to have been somewhere in the 8s, because I was making around minimum wage at Long John Silver's, and then I left that to go work at a full service restaurant, and it was like $1, maybe 75 cents or $1 more. And then I remember probably working there for like 4 or 6 months. I got $1 raise, and it was a big thing. People heard about it. They're like, hey, yeah, fucking, you're the $9 club.
And then some guys behind your back are like, dude, fuck Steve, man.
Yeah. And then I left that job for one that paid even less. But I think the people around me at that job at that time were making like $10, $11, $12 an hour or something.
Yeah.
Because I was making like $8.50, and I was having a rough go of it. I didn't really understand food. Like, I didn't know what a heart of palm was. When I'm working at a salad station, I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck this is. And I'm putting it on salads,
Yeah.
And I just wasn't very good. And at one point, they wanted to get rid of me. And the boss kind of had like a come to Jesus type of moment with me. And I ended up telling him that I was making $8.50. And I still remember the look on his face was like like he couldn't believe that they were paying me that little, because I'm assuming the people around me were probably making $11 or $12 an hour, you know, because he immediately gave me a raise of $10 an hour.
You're like,
Yeah,
hey,
like
you
in that
suck, dude.
conversation.
I'm making $8.50. You need a raise.
Yeah, it was kind of like a click to him. It was like, oh, well, maybe that's why he sucks, you know. But I mean, that one $2 an hour raise is kind of what kickstarted me into what I've become, because it kind of planted that seed of, oh man, maybe I can actually make more money doing this. Like, oh shit, you know. And then I actually got a little bit better and had a little bit more interest in learning new stations and stuff. So
I remember that feeling too of being young and paid that little, and you'd go, hey, how much is Carlos making? And you know, like, hey, do you know how much Carlos is making? And I'd be like, dude, I heard he's making $14 an hour. Like, what the?
yeah,
No way, dude.
yeah.
What? That's what we charge for filet mignon.
I remember when I got
Well, it was more than that, but
when I got to 16 an hour, I was an assistant manager, and it was probably like 2015, bro.
yeah.
And I felt like I was a fucking baller, dude.
Yeah, you know what changed it for me was a salary pay, going from hourly to a weekly pay, or just an overall salary, because it gave me a lot of freedom to show what I was capable of and my commitment without having this constant battle of, you need to get off the clock, you need to get off the clock, and because I was really willing to put it in, and when I left that job that I was speaking of, I think that it was kind of being taken advantage of, because I'd been on salary for a while there and they wouldn't up it. And I was like, I mean, I've already feel like I'm already doing, I don't know what we were roommates at the time. I don't remember how many hours I was working back then.
It was a lot.
It felt like quite a bit. I mean, it felt like I had to have been doing 60 on an average week probably.
Yeah.
Which is not too much, but it was still, I don't know, $500. I mean, what am I really getting paid here? Because you hear people get on salary and they'll be like, well, when they boil it down to hourly, this is what I'm getting paid. And you're like, yeah, but that hourly guy's not getting the hour. You know, they're not getting more than 38 hours. So they're still getting paid more.
Yeah.
But for me, it changed it. It changed the conversations I was having with my managers or the owners of the restaurants. And just the conversation changed, the opportunities changed. And I got that one salary job. After that, I took an hourly job for a few months. It didn't work out. And then it was like salary forever from then on.
I love salary. As long as the salary is fair and something that you agree with, I think that it's the right way to go, because for me personally, if I'm passionate about something and I want to see something grow, then I don't mind putting in 50, 60 hours. I don't mind staying extra and I don't mind cleaning the hoods, you know, I don't mind.
That's where you can make the difference, you know?
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I know exactly how much money that I really need to be comfortable. And as long as I'm getting that, then it's like, I don't need more, you know. Every once in a while I get, I don't know, I'll do a little odd job here or there and pick up a couple hundred little extra bucks, and, you know, and I mean, that's just bonus. But yeah, I mean, at this point in my life, I'm not paper chasing, and I have a long-term vision of success. I have an idea of how I might be very well off in 20 years.
Yeah.
So as long as I stick with it and take that slow road, then I know that I can get there, you know. I think that it's a better option to me than working 60 hours a week at two separate places, even though if I did that, like 30 and 30 or whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Even though if I did that, I could probably pull in more money.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be better for my future.
I've had those moments where I've worked two jobs where I'm going to do part-time here and here, and I'm just going to grind. Because eventually, if you show your ass enough, you're going to get 40 hours at one, and the other one's going to start pushing you. And then you're like, now I can't take that shift because I'm working so much. And well, you can fill your week with, I mean, you got to work in 80 hours, you know, like you can really start grinding and make money. You got nothing else going on, you might as well.
Right.
But eventually, it comes to a head where you're like, okay, well, let's start to get serious again. Like for me, you know, I've done that a couple of times in my career where I'm kind of trying to take a break from it. You know, I realize it doesn't sound like a break, but it's still a break to just mindlessly cook at a chain restaurant and then go fucking close this other restaurant. And then where I'm not involved in management, just go, yeah, I don't know, change the menu. I don't care. What do you want me to put on there? Barbecue? I don't care. You know, I'll do whatever you want me to. Just show me the money, you know? But it's kind of crazy because, you know, you're working all this extra overtime and you're not getting paid time and a half under any of those circumstances, you know, because it's two different companies.
That reminds me of this one time that I fucking got into this restaurant that was up in Niles, I'm not going to say the name of the restaurant, but they pulled me in and they gave me a pretty decent pay, dude. Parsons actually ended up getting me in there. And I just remember I was working grill or something like that. And I didn't really like the vibe. I didn't like the front of house guy. But point being, something you said reminded me, the chef there, he was kind of a bit of a esteemed chef in South Bend. And he was like trying to expand, do something new. And he was giving me like Sweet Baby Ray's or something to put onto burgers, and we were using everything out of jars. And every time he would do it, he would be like, "Oh, this is just temporary. We're working on a recipe. We're gonna get that rolling really quick, and we got the new menu coming." And I was just like, every time I was like, "I don't give a fuck, dude. Like, I don't fucking own this place. Like, you guys are paying me a lot of money.
Pre-cooked burgers, bro. I'll warm them up. I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, as long as it's safe, we're good, bro. If it's safe, you do what you got to do. That's fine. Hey, do you have a thing?
I heard about your thing.
How'd you hear about it?
It was on a podcast, actually.
Oh, wow. That's a great way to hear about your thing.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell people about your thing?
Well, we could talk about your thing all day.
Put your thing wherever you want it.
We're going to make your thing so big.
It's possible.
Right now, your thing is kind of small. But you buy some ad time on our podcast, and I promise you, your thing is going to be massive.
A great opportunity.
Everybody's going to be talking about your thing.
Reach out to us on our Facebook page and show us your thing.
I definitely think that you should.
All right, so I want to talk about something that I came across the other night, and I feel like maybe I sort of knew that this is happening, but for some reason I never took it serious. It really felt like new information, but somewhat familiar. Maybe I should have known this, but it was really deep. And so I think that we could spend hours on this, and there's hours of more research I could do on this, but I want to talk about forced labor and basically slave labor in the Chinese fishing industry. Do you know anything about it?
No.
Okay.
I think I remember the other night you might have mentioned like you'd gone down a rabbit hole or something. And
dang, I was hoping I didn't tell you.
I don't think that you told me what it was.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So it started with, I got a lot of notes here, but it started with a video on YouTube that was titled something like Prisons at Sea or some shit like that.
Huh.
Oh my gosh, there's so much, bro. I don't even know where to start. But the host of that was Johnny Harris and a guy, I think it's just Christoph. So I just want to give them credit because I don't want to act like I'm found all this research myself. Well, they were researching dark zones in the oceans, and they discovered these patterns. And I don't think it was them. It was like they discovered research that had already discovered this, but there was these patterns of ships disappearing, and they would just go black. And the reason being was that they were hiding some of this fishing activity where they were using slave labor to fish. And it was insane. Like some of the numbers that they were estimating, just all this stuff was just really mind blowing. And so there's 3 different groups that were basically being indentured on this. Is that the right word, indentured?
So who would even indict them if they were in international waters? I mean, obviously it's
I don't know.
a crime. I feel like that should be like a world crime, you know?
Well, it is. I think some of it has been pretty popular, like the Uyghur population in China. I think that has been on the international stage for a while because the Uyghurs have been tortured and held captive and used in forced labor, and it's pretty public. And it goes beyond seafood, but they do have a part of this. They're part of it because basically the Uyghurs are, as I understand, the Uyghurs are a Muslim minority of China, and the Chinese government has deemed them to be like that. Their ideology is dangerous, and so they capture them from this. They mostly live in one part of China, and please don't chop me off if I'm getting some of this wrong. I'm trying to be as factual as possible. I did spend some time researching this. I didn't do well in high school, but I think that I got a lot of my facts straight. So I just want that disclaimer. But they capture them and they put them into re-education camps. And basically the goal of the Chinese government is that the Uyghurs will basically claim their loyalty to the Chinese government and stop being Muslim. Like they need to erase their identity, erase their religion, and be loyal to the Chinese government. And if they do that, then they put them in labor camps. Like this is any better. So they put them in labor camps, and these labor camps, they are in prison basically. And what they do there is they do the packaging for seafood. So they just live and work here, and they live and they work here. And I don't really know to what end. I don't know if there's a contract where if it's like, well, okay, now you're loyal to the Chinese government. Let's find out how loyal, and then how many years, or if this is till death. I don't think it's till death. Maybe that's kind of unseen yet, because this is like a dark point. It's kind of tough to find the research for stuff like this.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. This is kind of why I wanted to talk about the things that we felt were unfair and being taken advantage of in the food industry in America, because there's a huge contrast in what's happening. And it sort of just makes us feel like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to make you feel stupid or
You're
nothing.
not a slave on a ship, motherfucker.
Yeah, I just feel like it's interesting to think of how we might feel in America versus how some of these people are who we can't even put a name to. So I sort of was able to track how a couple of these processes work. So the first one would be Korea's relationship with forced labor in China. So Korea, the government will sell, it seems like mostly women, but they will sell women.
Is this North Korea?
North Korea. Yeah, sorry. North Korea will sell their women to Chinese fishing companies. And what they will do with them is they'll go over to China, and then they'll put them in these concentration camps, and then they will destroy their identity, and they'll destroy their passports. And so their IDs, they can say that they are whoever they are, but nobody will believe them. They live, it's a prison. They'll be living in like bunk beds. There's just nothing. The next 2 years of their life is literally sleep, shower, eat, probably terrible meals, and then work. And I'm sure it's extreme labor, and they can't leave. There's been reports that there's barbed wire around these. It's not like you can go hit the town. I mean, they're North Koreans. Like, we kind of have an understanding of what North Korea is like. So these people, they don't really have much hope. And the reason that they're lured in, they're not just captured by Korea and sold just for the hell of it. It sounds like it's a little bit of a process. They sort of lure them in and say, you can go do this job and you'll get paid this much money. And isn't that amazing? But one of the factors is that they have to have living relatives in Korea. And the reason for that is that if they disobey or try to escape, then they know that Korea will kill or torture your family that's still in Korea.
And this is slave labor, correct?
Yeah, so when they so they pay them, but when they get back, when it's over with, when the contract is fulfilled, they return them to Korea, and they don't get paid that whole time. So they get back to Korea and they receive one lump sum for all the work that they've done, but Korea takes reportedly around 90% of that. And this is how North Korea, I keep saying Korea, but just to be clear, it's North Korea. This is how North Korea, this is one of their resources. Like they don't sell, they almost consider this a natural resource. This is how they fund
Human
making
beings.
weapons. I have a number here on how much, let me see, about how much they get paid. Reportedly, after about 2 years of work, they would return, and after Korea takes their 90%, then they would have about between $600 to $1,200 for an annual salary.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And so, I mean, I don't know, do the math. Was that worth it? But also, what's interesting is apparently that's also quite a bit more than they would have made if they didn't do it.
Huh.
Because Korean wages are insane. North Korean wages are insanely low. Yeah. And so some people may know exactly what they're getting into and willing to do it because of what they come back to, but it's still a tiny amount of money.
I'm sure that,
and it is fucking slavery. Because who gets to leverage that? It's United States. It's a bunch of countries, but a lot of this lands in the United States. Like you can go fishing in the ocean, fucking go get an Alaskan snow crab, And sometimes it can be cheaper to take it back to China and have it packaged and then brought back to the US.
That's
And they're
insane.
taking advantage of those situations
Wow.
because what they're being paid, I don't know what you have to pay somebody in America to do that, but the consumers in America are demanding lower prices. And this is like, who's responsible really? I mean, do you put the blame on the person right at the point who shows up and they go, those slaves? Cool. Here's all the crabs. Or is it on us? Who's like, we're not going to pay that much for crab. Make it cheaper. I don't care how.
First thing I just want to say is this is mind-boggling to even consider that this is happening in the year 2025.
Yeah.
You know, that people can be so mistreated and just, I don't know, treated as a means to an end.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And as far as the Uyghurs go, apparently, from what I can tell, they cannot quite, they get paid, but it's kind of similar. They're like, we can't really figure out how much they're getting paid. There's been reports of people saying, oh, I get paid this number. And they go, that's the exact number that's been on, like, that sounds like propaganda. And it sounds like you're afraid to tell us the truth, but the conditions have been reported. And actually, you know what? Let me see. I have a little note here. Oh, we should note that a lot of these facts come from the Outlaw Ocean Project, which is really trying their best to uncover this. The United States has, so we've had some laws to try to prevent this from happening. We've banned imports made by workers from, these are Chinese places, Xinjiang province, because that area tends to have more of these packaging plants. But we've apparently, the US and some of just global forces have identified 10 to 12 of these packing plants. And first world countries like the US and England and whomever, Canada, have banned, you're not supposed to buy anything from there. You're not supposed to take product there to be packaged. If you have any idea that it's come from there, then you can't be involved. You can't bring that to the US people. But apparently that has not worked very well. And so over and over again, companies like, oh, you know what? I have a list.
Nice. Hit me with the list.
Hit me with the list. Companies like Walmart, Costco, Sysco, Kroger, Performance Food Group, Trident Seafood, they have all been basically caught, or at least have been noticed, that somebody's noticed to them, like, hey, you are still involved in this trade. And a lot of them are basically saying, shit, we'll look into it. We're going to try to fix that. Of course, yeah, we definitely don't want to do that, but what really comes of it,
Yeah.
And again, like, who's to blame, like, how much does Walmart really know? How much does Sysco really know? I worked for Sysco for 4 years, and Sysco's, I think it's it's definitely the US's largest food distributor for restaurants. And so there's a lot of pressure to bring in mass amounts of seafood and at a competitive price. And apparently it's been proven over and over again that they are involved in bringing in seafood that's been packed in plants that are using forced labor. And Performance Food Group, and I know that some of this ties to some of the places that you work, because I'm sure that you've come across these providers before, and so you've handled this fish. And so the same piece of fish that you're touching.
I mean, Sysco and PFG make up fucking 80% of,
Yeah.
food
I think
distribution.
I think PFG is now the second largest food distributor, because they bought Reinhardt a few years back, and I think that they went from like the fourth to the second or something.
Just between those two companies, that's pretty much most of the fucking food that you eat when you go out to eat.
And then it hits retail, like for your home, Walmart, Costco, Kroger. Kroger's the largest grocer in the United States. So, like, what do we do about this? Because seafood is something that we have been made to believe, and it's probably true, but we've been made to believe that seafood is good for us. Like, it's better than red meats. It has a lot of health benefits.
I can tell you that just from experience, I've been in situations of pescatarianism, and I think that it improved my health for sure. Like, started noticing my skin was better, my systems were just working better, and that's really disappointing to hear, because that almost makes me want to not seek out seafood anymore, especially because, like you said, Kroger, Walmart, these are
major chains.
Yeah. Trident, which is just like a packer. Maybe that's not the right term because this is, but Trident would be like the brand. It's a brand. They don't sell directly to the customer, the end user, but they sell to Kroger or this restaurant or
Yeah,
whatever.
they make chewing gum. Yeah.
No, they don't. I'm pretty sure they're different companies, but I've seen Trident logos on like a salmon box or no, you know what? I've seen it on yellowfin tuna before.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I bought it from Fortune Foods, which I don't think is huge, but they come out of Chicago and they've got a pretty good spill in this area, especially when it comes to seafood. Yeah, but I mean, it's been years since I bought yellowfin tuna because what I do now is more beef, pork forward, chicken. But yeah, I've seen that brand before. So it's kind of wild. But the biggest thing that blew my mind, so those things are happening, and I think that some people are maybe aware of what's happening with the Uyghurs because of it's been on the global stage, like I said, and they're held captive and doing things like I think that they're in way more than seafood. But the biggest thing that blew my mind was forced labor at sea. So for this situation, it seems like okay, Indonesia is a huge part of this. And I don't think that they're actually playing a forceful role, but it affects a lot of Indonesians. This is how it works. Indonesian workers, laborers, or just fishers, I didn't really clarify if they had experience in this before, but they would be approached by recruiters, and some of it is on Facebook, maybe just being like, or just general social media being like, hey, do you want to improve your life? Well, we've got a job for you. Or people actively out trying to find workers, or maybe job fairs and things like that. But they basically, let's say that you're extremely impoverished and you have a family and you're trying to figure it out, and I'm the recruiter. I would tell you, hey, I've got a gig for you. You're gonna go fish. It's a 2-year contract. You're gonna go fish on Chinese boats. The conditions, I don't really know what they explain, but it seems like they're described as somewhat livable and not that bad.
Right.
And we're gonna pay you this amount. And you say, yeah, I'm down. That sounds amazing. So you have to leave your family behind for a 2-year contract or whatever it may be. But you're going to make all this money and you're going to be the hero of your family. And so they agree to it. And then the process begins and they go, hey, we have to transfer your visa. So there's going to be a fee for that. And there's an administration fee. So you have to pay for that. And do you have the money for that? No, of course you don't. So the Indonesian would be like, no, I don't have the money for that. And they go, that's okay. We'll just take it out of your pay because you're about to make like all this fucking money. So we'll just take it out of your pay. And you go, yeah, that's fine. I'm about to get rich. We're going out there, take it out. I think that strategy may be used kind of all over the place.
Do you think they make them sign a contract?
Well, I don't know. I think they do make them sign a contract. Yeah, I think it's legally binding that you're in debt. So now you have debt to this person, to the recruiter.
That's sad.
But it doesn't really seem that crazy yet. You might still not realize what you've done. You just go, yeah, that's fine. We'll pay it off. You go to the ship. They take you out to sea. And the same thing happens that happens with the North Koreans. They destroy your identity and they get rid of your passport. Good luck getting off the ship anyways. But if you do, nobody's going to know you. You're going to be an illegal immigrant everywhere. And then they say, we're not paying you what you thought you were getting paid. You're going to get paid $1 a day. But you might owe them $1,000 because of the admin fees, and you thought you were going to make whatever it might be. And so now you're in debt to them. You have this 2-year contract. At the end of the 2 years, you still won't have paid off the fees that you agreed to pay.
And you're stuck on a fucking
And you're
ship.
stuck on a ship.
In the middle of the ocean.
And so the way that they pull this off is, dude, I've got a number here. They believe that there's between 120 and 200,000 forced laborers at sea. And China has reported something around, I got a little too many here, but a little too many notes here. But China has reported something around I think they said we have like 1,500 ships at sea. But satellite data shows that there's like 6,000 ships at sea.
Really?
So you have to imagine that they're covering up 4,500 ships, and that's probably where the forced labor is. And so we're talking, possibly 250,000 people enslaved in China's oceans to fish. So what they do is they stay out there. Oh, I wish I had some pictures, but it's just like a grid. They have all these boats out there catching squid. Another issue is that they're probably overfishing, and there's going to be a huge shift in the ecosystem. But so they have all these ships out there, and then they bring in a mothership that has legal workers that docks. Okay, then it comes out, and then all the slave ships come in, and they unload all the squid into the freezers into the mothership, and the mothership refuels the slave ships, and it gives them their rations, their food rations, and whatever else they might need. Well, I don't think it's what they need at all, but it gives them some resources, gas, some rations, maybe some new slaves, and then they give them the squid, and then they go back out. The mothership goes back, docks, and so this mothership is going out and doing unbelievable things, and that's all legal. But what it's doing is keeping all of these operations in international waters, and these boats will be at sea for like 10 years. Like those boats will be there until they damn near sink.
Holy shit.
And there's been people that have been reported to be on these ships for up to 10 years,
Wow.
enslaved and just doing this work. And they're dying from malnourishment. Apparently, there's people that, I wish I would have gotten some, but apparently there's some people that have, come off of it and been like, this is what was happening. But it sort of has like a prison feel to it. Like there's, people are being murdered. There's attacks. I mean, the people are being raped. All these things. Resources are scarce, and so people are dying out there. And ultimately, what happens is, let's say that they fulfill their contract and they're brought back to Indonesia. They didn't make any money. They made no money because all they did was fulfill this debt for administration fees and visa transfers and all this bullshit. And so they come back more broke than they were, and they just experienced years of forced labor under brutal
Holy shit,
situations. Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad that you brought this up because I had no idea about it, and I imagine most people probably don't.
Yeah. It's a lot. So I realize I'm like spitting out so much data and shit, but it's so much. I just feel like, yeah, go do more research. You'll find maybe spots that I was wrong, but mostly I think that I was pretty accurate.
Yeah. So if you want to do your part out there, boycott seafood, I guess.
Yeah, that's the problem. What do we do?
Fuck, I don't know, man.
I saw something. Oh, here it is. China estimates its distant water fishing, they call it, as 2,700 vessels, but public records and satellite imaging suggest the figures are closer to 6,500 ships. The United States and the European Union have fewer than 300. So that gives you an idea of how they are providing nearly all of the seafood to the world. And then also, I know just from conversations from selling seafood at Cisco that same issue still occurs where you might catch it. Those 300 U.S. ships might catch it and still feel inclined to bring it to China to have it packaged under forced labor conditions, and then it comes back to the U.S.
It's just absolutely insane, man.
Yeah, and I don't really know. I don't know. There's people out there that are trying to let people know the realities of it all. I mean, that's so big. How do you stop that? Like, even stopping that would put this huge swing in the supply chain. That, I mean, it would be worth it, of course, but I don't even know how you handle that.
I'm sorry I keep yawning. I woke up at 4 a.m.
Sorry, I keep yawning. This shit was boring.
No,
I'm playing.
I didn't want it to look like that on camera. It probably does, but no, I've been up all day. Yeah, it seems almost too big to even stop. And like I said, even if they do, I guess, well, China's not going to prosecute their own people for doing this,
Yeah.
I
think that Indonesia has made some attempts because it affects them. Yeah. It's more than just them, but it affects them. But I don't think they've really gotten anywhere.
It doesn't seem like China or North Korea would have any interest in,
Yeah.
And it seems to be something that probably, for instance, America probably knows about and is kind of turning a blind eye to,
Yeah.
Because how else?
The U.S. is the world's largest importer of seafood.
Like you said, I mean, America doesn't give a shit. They just want cheap shrimp on the fucking shelves.
Well, we're not aware of it. You know what I mean? Like, we do give a shit, but what do we do?
Well, I'm not saying as Americans. I'm talking about who's going to do something about this. You know what I mean? Like, who's going to step up and be like, hey, y'all can't fucking enslaved 20 or what was it, 200,000 people?
It's an estimate,
Maybe.
100
Yeah.
to 200,000, something like that. Six figures.
Yeah, I have no fucking idea what to do about that, but
Yeah.
it's just insane that it even happens, man. Because I mean, I don't know. I could see being in that position, you know, of
Yeah.
just being dirt poor in Indonesia, and somebody comes up to you and kind of sells you a dream, and you have all these ideas in your head, and then you get on this fucking boat, and the next thing you know, like your life is fucked.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, while doing research about this, I came across way more situations too that I was just like, okay, I've got to focus in on one thing. So I was focusing on the Chinese forced labor and seafood, but it uncovered like this is a global issue. There's more than just this. This is one focused area of forced labor, but there's forced labor throughout the world that is just jaw dropping. And I saw one statistic that said that there's more slaves in the world now than there ever has been.
Holy shit.
And I don't know how true that is, but I think that just trying to scale the understanding of, I don't know, just knowing that more people that live in this city are being held captive on boats right now, so that we can have calamari, you know?
Right.
And then how many operators don't know that? Well, I don't know, man. It's just so confusing because what do we do? What do we do as consumers? What do we do as restaurant operators? You can't even take a stand on some of this. Like, how much of the world's supply calamari is that? Probably most of it that you've ever eaten came from that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I would say from the research that I've done, I can say pretty confidently that 100% of the people who are hearing this have consumed a product that went through the hands of somebody who was under forced labor conditions. And some in child labor conditions. Because,
I
dude,
was gonna say, and they were wearing tennis shoes that were made by a fucking 10-year-old girl,
right,
you know?
the sweatshops and stuff. Because it looks like from way out, it looks like the chocolate industry and the coffee industry have a huge issue as well. And I've heard the spice industry does, you know, and that would affect like the 99-cent spices at Walmart versus like your nicer artisanal spices. It's you start to understand that when you're in a grocery store and you go for the cheaper items, it's not always product quality that makes it cheaper. It's like the labor and the supply chain and
Yeah.
like how did it get cheaper like that?
Huh.
Who made that container? Who made that labor? Who carried that cinnamon from the tree to where it was being processed? There's child labor involved in some of that.
The sad part is that most Americans are going to need that 75 cents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, when I'm grocery shopping and there's two comparable products and I look at the back and the ingredients are the fucking same, you know, and one is 50 cents cheaper.
Yeah.
Most of the time I'm going to go for, unless I know it's a brand that I really like or whatever, you know, like most of the time I'm going to go for the cheaper one.
I agree. It's not so much like that in a restaurant when you're an operator. There are some restaurants that have that mentality. In a restaurant, it's more like what are your customers willing to pay, and how do I keep that the best quality that I can?
Right.
But there's still, you know, I still wonder some of the products I mean, sometimes I'm buying from McCormick the spices, and I think that McCormick has a cleaner system for how they acquire their spices, and they're at least act like they're more confident about it. But then sometimes, dude, this thing of black pepper is $35 from McCormick, but it's like $12 from Piazza.
Right.
I have a really hard time not buying that $12 black pepper because when you cut them next to each other, they taste the same.
And you can buy 3 jars for damn near the same price.
Yeah, and it's pretty significant. I
Yeah.
think that's pretty significant. So, anyways, that's a huge case of bullshit. I hope that maybe we could find somebody that knows more about it, or we could just study more and go deeper than just the fishing, or even if we need to dive deeper in the fishing situation. But I would like to know more about it. I would really like to know how to stop contributing to it without also going broke. Not that my broke compares at all to their broke, but
This podcast is going to get out, and then the fucking Chinese government is going to catch wind, and next thing you know, it's going to be you and me on these fucking boats.
it's gonna be like what was it, that comedy that they put out, the government, the North Korean
Oh,
was like, no,
what was
you
it?
won't allow that. We
Oh,
won't
that
allow
was
you
Seth
to do that in the
Rogen.
US. Seth
Yeah.
Rogen, and didn't they make military threats about it?
They hacked Sony, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And they
Well, it's been, yeah. Just sources for my information in general was that YouTube video that I referenced in the beginning, the Outlaw Ocean Project, and PBS. And I would say the Outlaw Ocean Project has a website that is just rich with information on this. And it seemed like the biggest source. It seemed like the main report of all of this. They've really dug their heels in. And so maybe on that website, maybe they have ways that you can contribute positively without just fucking donating money. I mean, it's tough, you don't want to like give up some of the things that make you comfy in America for these things like that you don't see in front of you. It can be kind of challenging to make that decision.
Right. And dude, it's gotten so hard nowadays to even being an educated consumer to completely avoid all the evils in the world. You know what I mean? Because everything that's out there on shelves, fucking half of it came from some nefarious things and shit,
Yeah.
or
You see one option, it's like fair trade chocolate, and you're like, this other chocolate's probably fine, right?
right.
If this one's claiming that they've done something fair, then I worry what these ones are doing. And there's stories behind all of it. It's crazy. So, thanks for listening to me talk, because I realized that was a mouthful, and it didn't really open up much conversation. I was just hoping to report it the best I could and open up some curiosity, I guess.
No, I definitely think that that's something that needs to be out there. I hope that people, after hearing that, will kind of spread the word on this. And
yeah,
I know it's definitely going to make me think twice when I buy seafood.
Yeah.
But fuck, man, that's just insanity.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the craziest thing is, even in this conversation, I've already accepted mentally that those people will probably never hear this, and it's like,
The people on this ship?
yeah. You know what I mean? It's like they don't exist.
Yeah.
Even when we talk about this, I'm talking about them, and I think they'll never hear this, and they'll never correct the record. They'll never get justice. I don't know. It's wild. And I think that I don't know. I don't know. That just is. So there it is. That exists, and it's just the tip of the iceberg.
You know what? They need to make a fucking Hollywood movie about it. That's what they need.
That would probably be helpful, and that would probably be pretty effective.
Yeah.
I agree. Because what was the one where it's like, I'm the captain.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm the captain now, or whatever he said.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know if that was a fishing boat, but it was like
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Somali pirates.
Yeah, but it opened up the world's understanding that Somali pirates are out there and this thing is happening.
Yeah.
It made people curious. So you're right. I think that could be really helpful. I wonder if there's anything out there in entertainment already.
You know what it reminded me of? When you were talking about that, I was like, I wonder if the people who made Squid Games took inspiration from this, specifically in the point where you were saying,
Oh yeah.
That they kind of sold them. Because I mean, that was kind of the plot of Squid Games.
Where's Squid Games? Where did that originate?
I want to say it's Japanese.
Okay.
It might be Korean though.
I wonder how much knowledge people in China have of this, or just in Asia where it's mostly affected. Like, I wonder how, maybe they all know very well.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet
because it's like forced labor, it looks different. And like the way that they manipulate these people, it looks different all over. Even in those three, the Uyghurs, the Indonesians, and the North Koreans, all three of those people ended up in forced labor in the fish industry in China, or in China's oceans. But they all had three different reasons. And so there's creativity put into how to fucking convince these people to or not even convince them, but
yeah,
the promise of a better life, and then take advantage of that. Or in the Uyghur situation, it's there's no promise of a better life. It's that you shouldn't be who you are, and we're gonna make
it's
you.
Brainwashing. Yeah,
it's unreal.
Yeah,
I think that the U.S. government has come out multiple times and said what's happening with the Uyghurs in China is a crime against humanity. I don't know if it was necessarily about fish packing plants, but that's a part of it. And but what do you do about it? China has so much leverage in the global trade industry.
Oh yeah.
But that's why. That's why, dude, because they take advantage of their people, or they take advantage of, they're in the slave
Everything.
trade,
Yeah.
and it lowers costs and it makes us unable to compete. It's just fucking insane. I feel like it would be very difficult, but if America was like, you know what, dude, we're just not buying anything from China anymore. Like no more imports from China. I think that people would lose their mind. I mean, it would crush us economically.
Yeah, man. Well, it would never happen. I mean, think of all the shit that we get from China.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And somewhat loosely aware of the conditions that it took to make that item so cheap.
right.
Like in every industry.
I mean,
We just don't want to look too hard at it sometimes.
we can't. I don't think that we can afford any more inflation in this country. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it would maybe require lifestyle changes, I guess. Fuck, I don't know. It's such a big question.
Yeah.
So that we just have to like hope that global leaders can find ways over time to justify to
I can't see it happening
Fix it.
in America, man, because there's too many people in America that just want what they want when they want it. I feel like
Yeah.
we're just a bunch of fucking spoiled brats, dude. Like we're just.
It almost makes farmed fishing seem like a great thing, because I've seen, maybe that's something we should look into sometime down the line, but I've seen kind of hit pieces go out on salmon fishing, salmon farms, about the conditions. It's basically about the conditions of the salmon.
Which I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't give a shit about the condition of a fucking salmon, dude. Are you kidding me?
I don't feel that
I'm
way.
sorry if you're an animal lover out there. I mean, I love animals as well, but salmon and chicken to me are. It seems like they're pretty much ignorant.
I don't feel that way.
You don't?
No, I don't feel that way.
You think that they're intelligent?
Well, I don't know, but I think that they're a living being and they deserve dignity. And I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm
this
not
is
trying
a whole
to shame
debate.
them.
This is a whole debate,
is.
bro. It is.
We should debate it sometime. I don't think that there's people that wouldn't align with your beliefs.
That'll be the next podcast.
Yeah, maybe one in the future.
Yeah.
I don't want to get you canceled.
I'm gonna start preparing. Well, who's canceling me?
I don't know. I just think
I can't say fish are stupid. That's come on. The fish are gonna fucking cancel me? I'm not along the goddamn ocean. What are we talking about?
I don't know, dude. I just think that. Well, I guess what I'm saying though is like, yeah. I mean, that's it's easier to think that when you think about the wild caught fish and the humans that are being taken advantage of to make that happen. It's easier to be like, take advantage of the fish, not the humans, And I mean, I could probably find some agreement in that. If we are not gonna, if the demand is gonna be there and we absolutely have to have it, then we should take advantage of the fish and not the people, I guess. But really, I don't really want to see any of that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't buy sustainably. I buy cheap, and I try to make healthy purchase decisions for my house, and I try to make quality. And I guess if I know that there's crazy conditions for animals, I would be like, I'm not gonna buy that product anymore. But it's kind of tough, especially, bro. It's too much. It's too much because you get into chicken and you get into like there's really only a couple figures controlling the chicken supply, and
Right.
and once you go, hey, I'm not gonna buy from Tyson, then you go, so you're not buying chicken anymore?
Oh, so you're gonna buy Purdue?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you got to get out there, and I feel like it's just been we've just done too much to try. Everybody wants what they want all over the world, and we would be better off to just accept what our local area can give us.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what I'm? Yeah. If we would just eat the cattle from our local farms, and if he's like, hey, I'm running kind of short, then we just go, that's all right. We'll go over here to Farmer Dave and get his chickens today. And if he's running short, then we go to the farmer's market in the winter here when supplies run short on produce. We switch to jarred and canned foods. Like, I know that we'll never be there as a society.
I feel like that's very rooted in Eastern philosophy, you know? I mean, it was just ironic because we're sitting here talking about China enslaving people, you know, but
Yeah.
just like traditional Eastern philosophy of, you know, that's just not a Western way of thought, you know? I feel like most of the West kind of, yeah, they're just, they want what they want when they want it, dude.
No, I would
So-
love to have somebody on who could tell us about maybe somewhere that they live outside of this area that might live like that.
Right.
You know, maybe might be some countries in Europe, but potentially, I'm not really sure, but I would wonder if like Spain or it's the only European country I know. I don't know why Spain comes to mind, but I wonder if when we think about like Spain and Italy and America, personally, I think about like tradition and roots, and they're probably only eating Italian food in Italy. Like there's definitely not tacos and they're definitely not eating hamburgers. They're only eating, and I wonder if there's any truth to that.
I bet they eat more other European countries just because.
More European.
Well, I mean,
You're like, you're not European
no,
enough, Spain.
no, I'm saying that rather than eating like tacos, I think tacos are in America because of Mexico.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So they probably eat what borders their country.
Yeah.
That's probably.
You know, I've heard a lot from a lot of people that food in Europe, it just doesn't compare to food in America.
What do you mean by that?
Like the quality is just, I've never been there, so I don't know, but I've heard people that have gone over there and they come back and they're like, you don't get it, dude. You've never had a tomato. And I'm like, yes, I have. I just ate at fucking BLT. And they're like, no, you didn't have a tomato.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I believe that because some of the best wines are from Europe.
Yeah.
You know, and
The old world, baby.
Scotch and stuff. You know, it's all.
Well, Scotch has to come from Scotland.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of the better whiskeys or Scotch. And
a lot of things that come from nature just kind of are better in Europe for some reason.
yeah. And so I wonder, yeah, maybe there's some more of that locality, you know. But that would be, to me, that's how you solve that. And we're way past that. We can't go back. You'd have to go commit to a community that's willing, and that one little community is probably not going to make a big enough impact.
Well, I think that I don't personally see it this way, but I could see somebody believing that way of life to simply be un-American, you know, because it's part of the American ideal is just that you have the right to choose whatever you want for dinner, you
Yeah.
know? So,
I've always had like this interest in living on the land, so to speak, but I've never made the leap. And I have other people in my life who would have to agree, obviously, but I've always sort of been like, man, why can't I just go buy, yeah, just go buy some land. But I mean, I don't know, if I get myself in a position to buy a few acres of land and just farm the shit out of it, but keep it sustainable and just try to literally live off my land, that would be it would be a challenge, but I would save an incredible amount of money. I don't know. I've never tried it, but I look at earthships, you know, like people that build homes out of recycled materials and into hills and stuff like that. And
man, yeah, I feel like, I mean, it's always been a dream of mine, but I feel like I would get out there and I would start growing and then everything would just go to shit.
there's no Wi-Fi?
No, I just wouldn't be able to grow anything and I'd just have to
Yeah.
fucking make runs to Costco. And it's like
dude.
an hour
we
away.
both did gardens this year and yours sucked.
Yeah.
I didn't see it in person, but I think it sucked because you took a new job and had to leave town and you couldn't maintain it.
Yeah.
Mine came out pretty good, but I tended to it daily. And embarrassingly, I grew an enormous amount of peppers, which I'm proud of. But when I harvested them, I forgot about them and all of them rotted. Yeah. I mean, I made a really good hot sauce out of them and we used a few in tacos, but I would say like 80% of the tomatoes that I
Dude.
harvested just went to the trash, which was insane. I'm so embarrassed.
Should have pickled all them.
We ate all the tomatoes. We ate all the cucumbers. We have some pickled. The cilantro I lost because I made a mistake. They started, I forget what they call it, but it got way too hot one time. I had basil and cilantro out there. The basil did really well in high heats, but the cilantro starts bolting, I think it's called. And I tried to stop it and bring it inside and cool it down, and I lost it. So we only used the cilantro one time. And then what else? Oh, potatoes. I tried potatoes for the first time in my life. We grew some Yukons. They came out very good. Anyway, I think that we should probably wrap it up.
Sounds like a
Probably
podcast to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. We'll see what next week brings. We hope to have some guests on soon. If you see this and you think, damn, I should be on that podcast, then
I know that's what you're
hit us
thinking
up.
right now. Yeah.
Hit us up. Also, advertising opportunities. We would like to at least try to get some money to cover some of the costs. We do have costs associated with this. It's not just our time, but we've found ourselves buying new hardware, paying for some software, editing. I think it's going to cost us some money to post some of this. Like there's some work and money being put into this, so we kind of just want to at least break even to start with. And so hit us up, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna get some sleep.
All right, bro. All right, thank you. Right here. This is a good spot.